And I'm back. So let's look at the second premise of the kalam cosmological argument. The universe began to exist. The second premise for the kalam cosmological argument is rooted in the concept of the impossibility of forming an actual infinite number of things. Two philosophical arguments can be given for this conclusion. So let's take a look at them, shall we? The first argument is the impossibility of actually forming an infinite number of things. Here how the argument goes. An actual infinite number of things cannot exist. A beginningless series of past events entails an actual infinite number of things. Therefore, a beginningless series of past events cannot exist. So, before we begin, let's define some terms. To understand the argument matter, we must define what we mean by infinite. There are two types of infinites. The first one is called a potential infinite. A potential infinite would be like all the natural numbers, or time. And what I mean by time is that time began to exist, it keeps on going. Yeah. Time is a potential infinite, in case you don't know. A potential infinite is a series of things which progresses towards infinity as a limit. Therefore, all the natural numbers start somewhere. It starts at 0. And it keeps on going and going and going and going and going. And it never reaches infinity. It just keeps progressing towards it, but it will never reach it. That's the limit. To be a little clearer, let's phrase it this way. A potential infinite begins somewhere but never ends. Is that better? Okay, good. Numbers begin at 0, but after that, the point, it never ends. It just keeps on progressing towards infinity, but it never gets there. Now, an actual infinite is a collection of indefinite numbers whose numbers exceed any natural number. It's very difficult to describe this type of infinite, but with any type of example, because there is no natural thing which is an actual infinite. So it just exceeds any natural number. Alright then, now that we got our terms clear, go back and review this part of the video. It might be very confusing to understand these two types of infinite, and it's crucial to understand the philosophical argument by having your terms clear, otherwise you're not going to get what I'm saying. So let's look at premise 1. An actual infinite number of things cannot exist. An actual infinite number of things leads to absurdities. Let's give an analogy. Suppose the universe is an actual infinite number of things. So it has always existed. Alright, so let's suppose that the universe is eternal. And it just never began to exist. Everything in it is eternal, it's always been there, and it never began. So now let's take a look at the planets, Jupiter and Saturn. If the universe is eternal, then these planets have literally been rotating around the sun forever. Now here's where it gets absurd. Now suppose Jupiter completes an orbit once every 12 years and Saturn once every 36 years. If these two planets have been orbiting the sun forever, then they should have completed an infinite number of rotations. But yet one planet would have completed twice as many rotations than the other. This is absurd. Given infinite time, they should have completed an infinite number of spins. So that's a lot to absorb right now, so let's go back a little slower. If Jupiter and Saturn are eternal, like the universe, and that's just for the sake of argument, then they would have been spinning around forever. And if they've been spinning around forever, they should have completed an infinite amount of spins. Since it's been spinning around forever, they should have completed an infinite amount of spins. And since Saturn goes faster than Jupiter, since Jupiter goes faster than Saturn, then it holds true that Jupiter would have completed twice as many rotations than the other planet, than Saturn. But it doesn't make any sense, because given infinite time, it should complete infinite number of spins, but one would have completed more. Makes no sense, right? Did you get that? I hope you did. Let me go back over it one more time. Since one is going faster than the other, one should have completed twice as many more spins. But since they have been eternal, they should have completed infinite number of spins, but one will complete twice as many. Now that's absurd. That's an absurdity. That's obviously contradictory. I mean, one completed many more than the other, but they're both the same because they both are infinite. Now, let's give another analogy. It still involves the planets. Let's take the orbit of one planet. We may ask the question, the number of rotations, is it odd or even? Now think about this. They've been spinning around forever, and obviously spinning around forever entails that there's a certain number of rotations. So we may ask the question, how many rotations have they completed, huh? Infinite amount, right? But is it odd or even? It has to be one or the other, right? Well, if it is infinite, then the answer is neither. It is neither odd or infinite. Remember, the actual infinite, it exceeds any a natural number, so it's not either odd nor is it even. For the planet would have completed an infinite number of orbits. Since an infinite exceeds any natural number, it is neither odd or even. Yet this is absurd. An actual infinite number of things leads to absurdities. So, I hope you understood what I said here, and another analogy can be given, mainly Hilbert's Hotel, but that's just really long to explain. But suffice it to say, bringing in infinite just makes things more complicated, so premise 1 seems plausible. Thank you, and I'll be answering objections to premise 1 for this argument in the next video.